every vehicle I own. There's no way he didn't hear that from 4 miles away.
It has been a while since the C8 Z06 has been on the channel. I think it was fall. Yeah, I think it was fall that we finished some mods on this thing. We did some lowering collars up front. We did some custom spacers in the rear. That beautiful Z07 style front splitter from Extreme Online Store. This thing looks absolutely perfect, of course, in my opinion. Unfortunately, as is tradition on this channel, like months have passed. It is now snow-covered January here in New Hampshire. This thing's up for the winter, along with the rest of the cars. I've got some more mods for this thing, some that I'm really excited about, but that's gonna be later in this video. Unfortunately, they salt the roads here in New Hampshire, which means I'm not gonna be taking my cars on the road. Heater coming on, don't mind that. So I'm gonna wait till spring to install those mods, so that's kind of unfortunate. The good news for you is that'll be like 2 minutes from now. But I have had an oil change for this car for a while now. It's been saying it needs an oil change. I think it has like 1,300 miles on it, but it's also based on time. Every year the car wants an oil change. My truck is the same way. It gives you the prompt on the heads-up display, change oil soon. So I think it's time to do our first oil change on my C8 Z06. So let's grab the quick jacks, get it up in the air, get this thing ready for winter hibernation. Okay, car's in the air. I just let it warm up for a little bit. I always like to try and do engine oil changes when the oil's a little bit warmer, a little bit less viscous, comes out a little better, and just kind of flushes everything into the pan. So while that's kind of settling in the oil pan or dry sump or whatever you want to call it, let's go over the materials here real quick. This car calls for, God, I'll have to look it up again. I think it's 8 quarts. I got an extra one to be safe of Mobil 1 Supercar 5W50. You really can't even get this in the store. You have to order it online. I think I got all this stuff from Summit. It's been so long. Here's the OEM oil filter. And then I think this is the drain plug. Supposed to be one-time use. It was like a couple bucks, so why not? So that should be all that we need to get do the oil change on our C8 Z06. You know, I might have to bring it down a little bit to get up here, but I think the oil fill, yeah, it's right there. Yeah, see, it says 5W50 right on there, and Mobil 1. But underneath, I believe, I don't think we have to remove any of those trays. I think that those holes right there are for oil drain and filter change. But we'll find out. First oil change on this car. I've owned it for over a year now, so let's get under there, get it done, and get this thing ready to hibernate under the cover for a few months. pretty new to me. Oh God, what the hell? What? Oh, it's all over my phone. I wonder how big this drain pan is. I hope we got enough room. Oh, we definitely don't. I better get moving. Oh, phone down. Disaster. You already see what's next on that list. Good morning. It is actually the next day because I got the wrong oil filter for this thing. Back in the late summer or early fall, whenever I ordered this oil change, I think I got this filter from Rock Auto. Or I don't even know where I got this filter. Maybe it was Amazon, but it was the wrong one. So nowhere else had it except the dealership. That's the right part number for your LT6. But of course, it's $11 on Rock Auto and got bent over for almost 28 bucks. But I wanted it today. I wanted to get this wrapped up and done today, and I did. Another note, some people say you have to replace this plastic fitting, but I would maybe do that every 3 or 4 oil changes. This thing is totally fine, but it was pretty cheap anyways. So these call for 8 quarts of Mobil 1 supercar. I put in 7.5, and then I'm putting a note. I'm gonna jam it kind of in the driver's door panel there to remind me in spring, just to double check the oil level, but I wanted to make sure I didn't overfill it. We can always check when we go to start the car. So wipe the whole thing down, got the car cover on there, got the battery tender ready to go. This thing is ready to hibernate for a couple months. Sorry, I kind of stopped filming as much as I should have during the oil change, but it's an oil change. You guys have all seen it. It started getting really messy under there. You know, oil was splashing everywhere. It was all over the floor, all over my phone. First oil change on any vehicle you do when you're not sure about, you know, how quickly it comes out, where it's going to come out from. Yeah, it can always get messy. But yeah, I'm going to stuff this note in the door. This thing is tucked in for the winter. I'll see you guys in a few months, and let's get into some more mods. Man, nothing beats getting the cover off the car for the first time in spring. Haven't seen this thing in months. Can't wait to do these two. Where you guys been? I've been here. You guys disappeared on me for 2 months. Just kidding, we've been working on the Trans Am. Hopefully you guys have been following along with that series. But kind of waiting on some parts right now. A little sneak peek, but figured we'd jump into the C8 Z06. When I last left you guys, we had just finished up the oil change, threw the cover on it, threw the battery tender on it, and I have not touched it since then. Even just found my note that says, check oil, because I'm pretty sure on these LT6s, you can only check it when the car is up to temperature and, you know, idling. So we're gonna have to do that. But over here, we got some more mods. In usual fashion, I've had these since like September of last year, I think, and just never got around to installing them in the fall, and then just threw them in the trunk. And they've been there all winter, but it's finally time. You guys can probably already tell these are, I want to call them high flow cats, but is anyone even left at the EPA anymore? Can we just, we'll just say it. They're cat delete pipes, all right? They're, you know, high flow cats, whatever you want to call them. These are from Fabspeed. And I guess I took kind of a little bit of a gamble here because these were sold as C8 Corvette, like base C8 Corvette cat delete pipes. I think these are normally like $2,000 from Fabspeed, and I mean, I guess that's for good reason. The quality here is insane. Obviously, all 304 stainless steel, TIG welded. They got these heat shields on them. They even came with these cat simulators, which we'll talk about in a second. But I picked them up on the forums, brand new in box. I literally just unboxed these. Decals, hardware, keychain, everything's still there. I think I paid like $350 or $400. The guy was right down in New York, shipped them up to me. They came in literally one day. So shout out to the forums, still deals to be had on there. The risk is, I suppose, the internet may want you to believe that there's a difference between the C8 and the C8 Z06 catalytic converters or cat delete pipes or high flow cats, whatever you have. I feel like there's always a premium for the Z06 stuff. But with a little bit of investigation, I found that the part numbers for the GM C8 catalytic converters and the C8 Z06 catalytic converters are exactly the same. So a little bit of deductive reasoning would tell us that therefore cat delete pipes should also be exactly the same. So I started looking around for regular C8 cat delete pipes, and that's how we found these on the forum. So got those. As always with any exhaust project, I always try and use OEM high quality gaskets. So I got, I think, these two ones here, then like a triangle one and this donut one. So I have no idea how all this goes together. We're just gonna have to dig in and find out. And then also, to hopefully avoid or minimize check engine lights, they come with these. I've never used these before, I have no experience with them, but they're basically a mini catalytic converter that screws on right here at a 90-degree angle and attempts to make the PCM think that there is catalytic converters there and hopefully not give you a check engine light. So we'll see if those work or not. So the C8 Z06 is obviously pretty loud as is. You've obviously got the quiet mode with the valves closed, going through the mufflers, and then you open up the valves in sport and track mode, and it sounds insane. So I love, there's guys out there that remove the factory catback, I guess you'd call it, or, you know, factory exhaust, and I don't want to do that. I love the dual mode, be quiet if you want to, and be super, super loud if you want. I love that from a button on the steering wheel or on the touchscreen. We've had the dual mode exhaust since the C6. And I think I'm gonna keep it on the C8. So I think that a cat delete is the way to go here. But before we install these, I'd like to get some before clips for anyone that's new to the channel, or just, you know, just so we have a very good comparison of what it sounds like before and after. Mechanically, as far as the engine is concerned, this car is 100% stock right now. Bought one of these cheap little sound level or sound decibel meters so we can see, you know, what kind of gain we get as far as noise level. both inside and outside the car. It's pitch black right now and also raining out, but hopefully the roads are dry tomorrow and I think the sun's gonna come out. We can start this thing up, drive around, get some good exhaust clips, and then we'll dive in. All right, it is a beautiful, almost spring day. I think tomorrow's the first day of spring. Let's do the first startup of 2025 of the C8Z. Get us a baseline for this thing. All right, there it is. Valves open right now. No leaks that I can see. I think I saw almost 90 PSI of oil pressure that cold start. So, now what are the valves doing? They just open up again? I forgot to get the decibel meter. Let's see what it is at warm, or not warm, but, you know, idle here. So, about 18 inches from the exhaust. Call it 90 decibels. That's right at 1,000 RPM. We'll do another cold start before we rip this thing apart. But for now, let's head to the gym, get a workout in, take this thing out for the first time this year, get it up to temperature, double check the oil, and get some sound clips. Change engine oil soon. Guess I'll have to look up how to reset that. I'm sure it's some combination of the buttons down here, but we'll figure that out. Ooh, heated steering wheel's on. Still cold out. Man, I've had this thing for like a year and a half now, and this color in the sun still gets me. Unreal. All right, valves open. Just kind of pulling away from a stoplight. We're at like 70 decibels. Interior, that's with the valves open. If we close them, drops to like 68, which tells me that the road noise from these Michelins is probably most of that. Man, is it looking like rain? Don't tell me that. I saw about 85 on that pull. It's about 4,000 RPM. Just cruising around. First cruise of the year, 2025. Man, it feels good to get the cars out. Car number 1 out for 2025. C8 Z06. There's a good start. What this thing sounds like 100% bone stock as far as the engine is concerned. Visually though, you guys know we lowered this thing a little bit, spaced out the rear wheels, got the Z07 style front splitter on there, tinted windows. Damn. I love this thing.
Let's do a little highway merge action from the inside. Valves open. There is a bit of traffic out, so we won't go too crazy. Second gear. Woo-hoo-hoo. This thing is wild. Such an aggressive factory exhaust tone, and as I mentioned, the best part is that you can quiet it right down. The valves are open right now, and all I can hear is tire noise. So I gotta assume, even if we, you know, modify this exhaust, keep the factory mufflers, you know, we should easily still be able to road trip this thing and comfortably have a conversation in the vehicle without, you know, having to yell at each other. So we'll see, but I think that's a pretty good baseline. I'll try and get one more cold start to see what the science meter here says before we rip the exhaust apart. But yeah, just check the oil level. It's right in the middle of the dashes, so that's good enough for now. I might add like, I don't know, I think I have like a quart left. I'll add like a half quart, just bring it right up to the top, and we should be good to go. Yeah. Let's see, what do we got this year? I usually reset the trip every year to see what I did for miles, but done about 4 miles this year. That's enough. Let's modify this thing. That's enough of the factory exhaust BS. Let's void some warranties. Live a little. And hope that we don't get rained on. Didn't see anything in the forecast, but it's looking awful gray out there. Oh man, quick workout, first cruise of the year. Those are raindrops. She's totaled. Write it off, call the insurance company. And sometimes the color looks even better in the shade. Back in the garage, safe and sound. Minimal damage due to the rain. You can't really see, there's some tiny little water spots, but we will rebuild. Anyways, let's cold start this thing again, you know, for science. Man, even the peepers. 45 decibels.
So many everyday things. I'm gonna see how loud it is now. Alright, of course I didn't read the instructions on this thing, but I just found a mode where if you hold the max button, it tells you the max decibel. So we're warmed up, or not warmed up, but the idle has come down, valves open. 106, 107 maybe. See if we can figure out the service on this thing. Apparently we scroll over to, we'll dismiss that, then we scroll over to maintenance, and then hold this button. Aha. We get reset engine oil.
There we go. I watched a YouTube video, figured it out. All right, let's get wrenching. Seeing as the motor is in the rear, in order to do exhaust mods, we got to go to the rear. And I believe what happens here is, well, first of all, here's our beautiful LT6 built by none other than Dale Sherry. Shout out Dale. There's one cat. There's two cats. So those are basically what is or needs to come out. And I think we need to get the heat shield off and then obviously unbolt it at either end. And obviously half of it is under here. So the way that this works, I believe, is this carpet panel pops out right here. This whole thing comes out. Right here is the air intake, which needs to come out. And then we should have good access to both cats. But I've heard the intake on these things is a pain in the butt. I guess the good-ish news is I think I can sit/kneel right in here, which would be nice, and minimal leaning on this beautiful Riptide Blue metallic paint. If I have to put some plastic wrap on here to protect it, you guys know I'm all about that. Also, while we're here, because everyone always asks, like this stuff is unobtainium or something, this green wrap that I use, I get it at Lowe's. It's like surface protectant, I think they call it, or carpet protector. It's what you put down if you're doing a renovation in your house, and it works great. I don't even remember how much it was. I don't think it's terribly cheap, but it's not terribly expensive either. And you know, repainting your car or doing paint correction is definitely more expensive. So if you're gonna be leaning over, you know, your fenders, or in the case of a rear engine vehicle, your quarter panels a lot for a project like this, you guys saw me do it on the Trans Am, protect your paint, you know, if you care about it. All right, so here comes a milestone. We've done some suspension mods, paint correction, you know, visual mods. Have never turned a wrench back here anywhere near the LT6, so this is a milestone. Let's get to work. All right, 40 minutes later, we got the airbox removed. Mid-engine problems. Overall, really not too bad, since I knew what I was looking for based on what else is out there on the internet, but there is some bolts down here that you can barely see. There are Torx. You got your mass airflow sensors here. You gotta unplug those. There's a bunch of wires and stuff that are Christmas treed into these things there. You gotta unclip those. There's one electrical connector down there, another wire clip there. So just a lot of, basically all this stuff you gotta remove. So there's your, this is the sensor on the bottom. This mass airflow right there. Mass airflow right here. This sensor, whatever this thing is. But we're there. There's your twin throttle bodies into the LT6. So now we should have great access to our catalytic converters. So I think we just need to unbolt the shield right here, and the same thing on that side, and then we should be able to get to those bolts up there, and then hopefully we can shimmy these babies out. I hope this is a flex pipe. Yep, that's a flex pipe. So hopefully we can kind of pry this thing out, since these are studs in these things, but I'm just gonna wing it. Let's keep going. I'm excited. Let's get this exhaust off. Damn it. Update, heat shield is sharp. but a peanut.
Oh, the lower back and the hammies. Feeling it. Only bled once, so that's good. Left my mark there on my C8. Is it really even your car if it doesn't have your blood on it? Look at those like axle shields. Cool. Oh, there's the C8 transaxle. This goes to the factory exhaust. Hello. And yeah, I don't know how long that took. Probably 45 minutes, an hour, just to get, what is that, like 12 bolts. Heat shield had one hard bolt on each side. The connection here had one hard bolt on each side, basically on the bottom and on the bottom. And then same thing, that bolt was a bear to get to, just kind of, hence why I'm bleeding right there, just shoving your hand down in this area. Don't worry though. There's nothing sharp there that could cut you or anything, like any of that stuff. So don't worry about that. And then over here, this one was a little tight too. But once you got all that out, just a little bit of prying with the pry bar there. Just shimmy the cat back. Thankfully, the flex hoses are there, and the cats came out. So now, look at what we're replacing them with. Something much, much smaller. And you can see that, as I suspected, Fabspeed, you know, a lot of the cheaper companies out there, I think, just give you a flat mating surface, in which case you would order, I think, 3 of these and then 1 of the donut gasket over there. I don't know why GM decided to use a bunch of different gaskets here, but Fabspeed decided to do the same thing as GM, so you got this machine surface in there that this copper, is this copper? I don't know, or steel or whatever ring drops into, seals right there, just like that one. So one there, right off the header. Then you get the factory style right there. And then, of course, the donut right here. So exact same as what was on here. You can see the used ones there. The only difference is the factory, these are all studs. So Fabspeed gave me a bunch of bolts and washers and nuts. So we will see if that is likely more of a pain than the studs would be to go in. So I'm not sure why Fabspeed didn't just put studs on these too, but who knows. So I went to Harbor Freight the other day. I've never owned one of these. I was just using an open end wrench to get oxygen sensors off, but you can see these ones are kind of down behind this little cup thing, so that wouldn't work. So I spent the $3 or whatever it was on a O2 sensor wrench. So we'll get these off, transfer them to our mini cats, and get this stuff installed. So as instructions always used to say, assembly is the reverse of disassembly. It's that simple. More bloody knuckles, engage. So yeah, I mean, you only need a few tools to do exhaust mods on a C8. I honestly think that I used less tools to remove the motor 3 times out of my Sonic Blue 03 Cobra. But the job is done for the most part. It is the next day. I'm not sure if I'm getting sick because my wife and my son are both sick, and this winter's been tough. I feel like there's been a ton of stuff going around. My wife's been sick like 4 times. I've managed to avoid all of them, but I'm feeling kind of achy today, so not a good sign, but we're out here toughing it out. The back stiffness is probably a combination of whatever's going on with that, and also these things are not that easy to work on. I mean, look at where the engine is. You have to get up over the side and then down and in. It's like similar to the Trans Am, but different in that the engine isn't far back under the cowl, but it's just far and down. So my hammies are sore from kind of doing this for hours on end. And my lower back is sore because you're basically pitched over this thing down into there. But in some cases, I used that little ladder, put a little pad down here, and actually just kneeled in here for certain stuff, and that was a little bit better. But overall, could be worse, I guess. The worst bolt was this one on the bottom. Good news is that nuts that Fabspeed gives you are like serrated or grippy, if you will, on the back, so that you don't have to use, in most cases, you know, you don't have to hold one side with a wrench and then use the ratchet on the other one. So even the hidden fasteners tightened up pretty well. Got everything loosely bolted in last night and then spent 20 minutes or so this morning getting everything else tightened up. Got the mini cats in there. O2s are in. Connectors are right here. Hopefully ready to plug in. I think that everything is oriented correctly. Got the hangers good to go. So we are all set. So at this point, I'm gonna get the air box back in. We'll see how much of a struggle that is. Before I button everything else back up, we'll obviously start this thing up. So excited to hear how it sounds. We'll make sure there's no leaks. We'll see if we get any sort of check engine light. I'm hoping not. Used all good quality OEM gaskets, which is important in this. If you have leaks, it's gonna throw a code. So we'll see what happens, but let's keep the progress going and see how this thing sounds. All right, we are back together. This airbox, kind of a pain. All the connections on the backside are blind. I will say it was a little bit easier to get to the bolts down there that you guys still can't see just because the cat delete pipes are so much slimmer, so there's more room to get your hand down there. But we are all back together. Only thing I haven't installed yet is the heat shields, and that's because I think I'm gonna start this thing up and just verify that we don't have any leaks. I don't expect that we will, using the OEM style gaskets, but you never know. Let's give everything a final once over. Fire this thing up. I bet you it sounds like a Formula 1 car. Pretty similar to last time. It's gonna definitely blow that over, actually. That it connects to Bluetooth, but that was wild. So valves are closed now. We got 134 at cold start. Let's open them up. Reasonably quiet still with the valves closed though. Don't see or hear any leaks. Oh, they're open now. Oh yeah. She sounds good, boys. No check engine light yet.
Now they are definitely open. At idle with the valves open. Close them up again. Not too shabby. All right, well, I don't hear any leaks. All I hear is the sweet sound of a basically straight piped LT6. I like it. I like it a lot. But I'm going to button the rest of this up, get this cover on. Let's take this thing for a drive. See how it really sounds. All right, it is the next day. Just ran out of time last night after I got this thing all back together. Trying to deal with a sick kid and a sick wife. But today is the last sunny day that we're gonna get for like 4 days. We got mid-30s and raining coming for the next 3 to 4 days. So it's now or never, and by never I mean 4 days, but that might as well be an eternity. It's now or never if we wanna get this thing out and hear it. So only trade-off is it's a little bit windy out today. I'll try and find a non-windy spot. Let's see how we did. Let's see how this thing sounds. Still haven't quite figured out what the exhaust flaps do. They kind of seem to have a mind of their own at idle, but they're definitely open now. That is aggressive. I'm trying to figure out how to mount my Go 3 Insta360 Go 3 action camera on the bumper somehow. This is not as sticky as I thought it would be, or maybe it's just not sticking to the ceramic coating, but we'll see if we can get it on there. It'd be sweet to have some action shots right by the exhaust. open right now. Sorry about the steering wheel in your field of view here. I don't know. I need to get like a shorter suction cup mount or something. But anyways, the valves are open right now. We are cruising about 1600 RPMs. Let me get the science meter open here. But yeah, valves open. No cats, allegedly. And still very bearable in here. Again, road noise, tire noise. Oh, the burbles though. Oh. Still like mid 70s decibels though with the valves open. And let's just close them just for fun. So now we're touring. Basically silent. Gotta love the dual mode mufflers, man. This thing is so, I mean, I haven't gotten it above 3,000 RPMs revving yet, and it's so rowdy at cold start, and yet you can close them up and it's totally silent, basically. Best of both worlds. I love it. The only downside so far, and this is the only vehicle I have or had that still had the factory catalytic converters on it. The only downside is I started it up yesterday for that clip, came inside, and my wife immediately was like, ugh, you smell like exhaust. Just like every other vehicle I have now. So the only downside obviously is deleting your catalytic converters. It smells a little bit, but not nearly as bad as some of my, you know, LS vehicles with huge overlap cams and stuff like that. So we'll take it for now, but thus far, sound perfect. Quiet when you want, loud when you want it. Let's get on it a little bit here. Oh man, I feel like I am in a Formula One car. This thing is rowdy. Shoo! Oh, so I left my little mount thing. I tried to stick it better to that lower valance. We'll see if it's still on the car or way back there on the street, but it'd be nice to get some on-car clips. If not this video, I'll try and invest in something. Open to suggestions as to what we can do to get that. I know there's that ghost mount thing, but it's just so obnoxious. But if I have to do it for you guys, I will do it. All right, I pulled over real quick because I thought I smelled something. Do have a little bit of smoke coming out of there, but all that exhaust sheathing and insulation has probably got to burn in. Yeah, a little bit over there. I think that's going to be pretty normal with a brand new exhaust pipe and insulation and stuff like that. Keep an eye on it. The burbles and downshift are even better than, they're great from the factory. They're even better now. Why do I do this to every vehicle I own? There's no way you didn't hear that from 4 miles away. Good Lord. And there's a cop. Where is he going? I'm gonna go the other way. Hopefully he didn't hear that. This thing is wild. I love it. Let's see if we can figure out launch control on this thing. You guys okay? You guys okay? Oh my goodness. Well, that was just about the most violent launch I've ever been in a rear-wheel drive car. Sure, I've been in like all-wheel drive Audis and stuff that launch pretty hard, but for a rear-wheel drive car, that was insane. I had both cameras outside, so you guys couldn't be in here with me, but it was a trip. So much so that, as suspected, my camera immediately fell off. Hopefully the lens is all right. I got to figure out a better way of mounting that, but this thing that's the first time I've launched this thing. I just figured out how to use launch control or whatever. I think you can actually go in and adjust some settings like slip and launch RPM, but I think from the factory, the Z06s, I saw like 4,500 RPM. Obviously it started to spin, but traction control kicked in and we scooted and booted. Now I think I'm gonna go to a different location because the cops are probably on their way here. This thing is so loud, but let's merge this thing on the highway. See what it's like at cruising speeds. Oh, there's a cop right there. So maybe we shouldn't, IndyCar this thing onto the highway. Probably was... Okay, the car just downshifted by itself. Even it wants to go right now. We'll give her a little bit. He probably can't catch us. And there is exactly the speed limit. Allegedly. Alright, let's take her out of track mode. Put it in sport for now. Okay, so that's sport, so that's even with the valves like slightly open. And I'm being totally honest here. If you told me the car was 100% stock, I would still believe you. Very, very quiet in here. Again, wind and tire noise is most of what I'm hearing right now. Solid mod for a few $100. I'm happy with that. Wish my back felt better right now because leaning over this thing for 2 days was not that fun, but at least my heated seat works. That feels good.
there you have it. Successfully made my C8 Corvette sound like a Formula One car. I love it. Loud when you want it, quiet when you want it. Sounds so aggressive, better under load, better under decel, lots of crackles and stuff like that with the upshifts and downshifts. It sounds awesome. So that's gonna do it for this one, you guys. Let me know what else you wanna see on the C8. Maybe just more driving, maybe we take it to the track, I don't know. Don't say twin turbos, we're not there yet. Maybe soon though, but yeah, let me know what you guys wanna see. Stay tuned for everything else we got going on. Catch you in the next one.